So here in the pair deck, we're going to look at some examples of how we graphically or through a motion map or through language described motion in the Buggy lab. So first, graphically, we had a position time graph. This is the checklist of the things that we need on our graphs right now. And here is an example of that. It's color-coded so you can kind of see that each of these items is represented on the graph. So what you're going to do here is rate the graph. And what you're going to do is you're going to use any color and decide which features on this checklist this graph here includes. So you'll just cross off the ones that are represented here on the graph. Next, you're going to rate this graph. So looking at this checklist, which of these things, again, you can use any color to cross off the checklist items. So which of these things are showing up on this graph? Then after you rated those two graphs, you're going to describe which Buggy Lab graph is better and why. So do you like A better or B better? And tell me why. You'll answer that over here. Next, we're going to look at diagrams of motion. So again, we have this what we need checklist, and we have an example here. You can see the example has everything we need. What you're going to look at here are two different diagrams and say which diagram of motion is better and why. And you have this checklist here to remind you of the things that should show up on the diagram. Now we're looking at the description of motion using words. So what we want to do is say, okay, which description is better and why? So for description of motion, we need to have enough detail and specific information to really visualize and understand the motion of the object. So is it A or B, and then describe why. Now I want you to practice the description of motion in words. So you'll watch this little video and describe what's happening using words. Next, you're going to draw a motion diagram of this pup's motion. Remember, this is what you need to include. And you can use the back arrow to go back and check out the example if you want. You're going to now create a graph for the pup's motion using this data table that I've provided for you. So this is the data right here that I want you to put onto the graph. And again, if you need to go back and see what things to include in your graph, just hit the back button and you can go back to that. Once your graph is complete, you can go ahead and close out and it will show me all of your responses.